What's going on, my fellow A-Plussers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus More Phenomenal, your stop for your Power Rangers and Super Sentai review and news right here on our Facebook page, A-Plus Opinions. As always, it is I, your more phenomenal host, Adam Perez, back once again for a brand new review as we're set to go ahead and get into Mashin Sentai Kiramager this week, episode number 19. We're almost to the 20s here, haven't quite hit that middle ground or midpoint, I should say, for the season, but we're inching closer. We're inching closer. It's kind of crazy to even fathom the idea that we're 19 episodes into this season already. Maybe because I've thoroughly enjoyed majority of the season, honestly. Good. I guess, you know, they say time flies when you're having fun, right? I guess the same thing happens when you're watching a really, really good and solid show. It's just a ton of enjoyment. So for me, sad to see that we're at episode 19, almost to that halfway point. But it's definitely been a quite enjoyable ride, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly joining me here today. Happy Super Sentai Monday here on A-Plus Opinions from A-Plus More Phenomenal. You know, I just went on Twitter and went ahead and posted the link to let everybody know we were about to go live here. And one of the things that I said was, it's really hard for me to have a case of the Mondays when it comes to Super Sentai because of the fact that I get to watch Kiramager usually on Monday. So while, yes, getting up on Monday, having to go to work on Monday isn't the most appealing thing, there is at least Kiramager that I know is usually waiting for me to certainly turn my day around. So really no case of the Mondays here, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to go ahead and help you guys get through the week and hopefully start it off right with some Kiramager talk, ladies and gentlemen. So let me see who's actually in the live chat or in the comment section watching us live today. We got Alec certainly coming through as always. And of course, L'Oreal certainly making their presence known. L'Oreal does say that episode was turbo mega cool. Well, hey, L'Oreal, I'm really glad that you enjoyed this week's episode. It's an episode that I definitely did also. There is something just really telling about the idea that you don't always need to have a super compelling storyline, right? Like every episode doesn't necessarily have to be connected to this overarching story throughout the season. That sometimes if you just go into an episode with just a solid quality writing, some humor, some really great intentions, I think you can have just a really solid and fantastic episode. And this episode for me certainly was the case here. I mean, considering the fact, again, that while it didn't focus on the big overall arc of this series, just some of the great moments that we had in here, from some of the humor to the lightheartedness, seeing the encouraging moments with our Kiramagers. Sometimes all you need is an episode to just put a really good smile on your face and to make you certainly enjoy this week's episode. But I definitely did, man. We had some really great moments here, and we'll definitely go ahead and break it down for you guys for sure. So I will say this. The episode itself starts off with one of L'Oreal's favorite here in regards to Juru. We do see that Juru is having a little bit of a struggle. While we haven't seen this guy in high school, we haven't seen him in his own personal class. What we do see Juru here in this week's episode is he's being sort of, I don't want to say a substitute teacher, but one of his teacher friends has asked for Juru's assistance in their art class. And so while this should be just a no-brainer, something that's just relatively easy, that comes easy to Juru, teaching the art class doesn't necessarily go as well as he was certainly hoping for, as unfortunately there is at least one kid in this class that really has either no motivation to do art, that maybe doesn't like that idea of drawing, or just doesn't have that connection with Juru. Juru's really struggling to get this one kid to kind of fall in line with him in regards to his art class. On the flip side of things here, we do have ourselves a brand new Marsk Beast this week that we see our Kiramagers encountering. This particular Marsk Beast, I believe they called it the Moving Out Marsk, which at first you don't really know how this Marsk Beast works, but we come to quickly find out that the Marsk Beast has the ability to go ahead and swap out people's souls. So the idea of like moving out, it's like moving you out of this body into somebody else's. So really swapping souls with whoever the monster winds up shooting its beam at, or whatever the case may be. Unfortunately for our Kiramagers this week, they are in fact the victims of the Marsk Beast. And so what we wind up having here is our Kiramagers, our human Kiramagers, their souls being sort of transported or transplanted into the Gemstones, whereas now we have the Gemstone soul and personality inside of the Kiramager's body. So it's pretty much just like a swap them, if you will, here in this week's episode. And it paid off well. Hilarious to say the least. I had a fantastic time just watching how some of the Gemstones fared in their now human bodies. Just absolutely great stuff. I mean, the personalities that we get to see from the Gemstones when they're in their Gemstone mode, right? I mean, I'm sure we probably have some of our favorite Gemstones. Like for me, I love Mach. I think Jetter's fantastic. Fire certainly not too bad also, right? So I'm pretty sure that there are some Gemstones that we're really big fans of, really enjoy their personality. But getting the opportunity to kind of see them in the body of the Kiramagers, just so much fun here this week. Just to kind of see those personalities continuing very much to kind of shine through. Chevello kind of being a little bit of the older man, I guess, if you will, having some complaints about Tommy Tomo's back and things like that. You know, for me, the two standouts was Jetter and Helico, what seemingly seemed to be like the two kids of the group, right? Like while everybody else seems to be their own set of adults, it seems like if there is any Gemstones on this team that are more like the adolescents, the you know, I don't want to say the troublemakers, but like the young ones, to say the least, it's definitely Jetter along with Helico. So just to see like Jetter flying around in Shiguru's body, seeing Helico just constantly spinning around just like a kid that's distracted easily, or just finds the littlest things to be happy about. I honestly loved it. Like seeing Jetter wanting to be like his older brother, right? Saying, oh, now I get to flirt with like all the cute actress ladies and things like that. Like I thought that was pretty funny. Helico just thrilled about the idea that she may get the opportunity to do surgery. Maybe not so much, sort of thing. Like I just the responsibility that now comes with the Gemstones being in our characters' Kiramager's bodies. I don't want to see Helico behind an operating knife whatsoever. Some really great stuff. I loved Mach. Also, I thought Mach was another one of my fantastic ones. But for Mach, I was a little bit surprised, because I feel like for somebody who has like that chivalrous aspect about him, I thought maybe on the battlefield he certainly would do pretty well. But it seems as though for the most part he's just kind of off in hiding, really wanting to kind of protect Cena's body. And listen, man, when it comes to Cena's body, Super Sentai really holds no punches here. The fact of having Mach inside of Cena's body, first off, Cena and Mach have already had an interesting relationship with each other, just the way that they talk about each other. Clearly, Mach just being infatuated with her, really looking up to her and things like that, calling her like milady and things like that, right? So they definitely have, even she thinking that Mach's voice is sexy. Like they have a really fascinating and interesting relationship, those two. But Mach getting the opportunity to be inside Seo's body was hilarious. From just the smelling of himself, like, oh, these aromas, to the point to where Homeboy literally grabbed his chest. Like, even though they don't show it, let's be real here. The intent certainly was for that to be the case. I mean, you can clearly see Cena, played by Mach here, going to like touch herself, and then it cuts over to the Gemstone, and Cena's like, all right, let's not deal with all the body cliches here, right? And then it immediately cuts back to Cena, her hands are now coming off of her. It's like bung, like they come right off of her, sort of thing, right? So the idea of let's not do the cliche thing is because honestly, if I'm a guy, and well, I am a guy, but as a guy, if I were to go ahead and be swapped into a female's body, you know, my hands would be all over the place. You know it. It's just a natural cliche, I think, for when you swap bodies with somebody. So I would not be surprised if Mach certainly did a little bit of exploring of his own. But I love this, the cutaway scene, but leave it up to Super Sensei to at least hint at the idea that Mach at least got some feels in real quick before they actually cut away from him, needless to say. So the Gemstones clearly had a fantastic time in their bodies. But it was just so much fun just to get the opportunity to see everybody in there. I mean, goodness, Tommy Tomo, regardless of the bad back that Chevelle was talking about, hitting the floss for us, I thought was brilliant, man. I honestly thought that it was brilliant. So really great way to go ahead and just add some humor in here, some levity to this week's episode. And just seeing just the under-experienced gemstones, I guess you could say, when it comes to fighting inside the body of the Kiramager. So I really enjoyed that. But one swap that actually kind of benefited, I guess you can say, some of our Kiramagers here was Fire taking over for Juru, as we get the opportunity to see Fire winds up teaching the art class in here. So I in my notes, I said I simply love just Fire's enthusiasm and energy kind of going into the class, something that was clearly missing from Juru. But then again, they're completely different personality, so I can understand Fire's pacing and how he wants to go ahead and approach things. So I mean, he even winds up helping the kid that Juru had a hard time with, because he winds up finding sort of the enthusiasm when it comes to art, right? Like, art isn't just having to draw. And this is something that the kid clearly didn't want to do. Every time Juru hands him a brand new piece of paper, he's just ripping it up. And Fire winds up using that to his advantage. And while I don't necessarily think Fire specifically pumped this kid up because he thought like, hey, art isn't just drawing. Maybe I don't think he knew that this kid was going to come out with creating a brand new collage, to say the least. But it does at least go to show you that the kid does in fact like art, but maybe just not drawing, just in a different format. And by being able to not only encourage him, but to go ahead and bring in further enthusiasm, just allows him to be able to kind of explore maybe some of the things about art that he actually does like. And we wind up seeing the kid kind of really tap into that and winding up thanking Fire for allowing him to find this love in regards to art. So I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was pretty cool, right? Giving the kid compliments and bringing in a sense of enthusiasm and then support to kind of show him there are certainly other things to art as well. And so I really did love that, and seeing just Fire's technique about how to go ahead and handle the class full of kids. So while Juru is really a fantastic leader, and we've seen him really handle a lot of situations fairly well, 19 episodes in, the one thing that Juru cannot handle, unfortunately, is kids. I definitely think that's something that him and Garza certainly have in common, for sure. But what I loved here also was just getting the opportunity to see the Kiramagers supporting the gemstones, right? I think the idea of being swapped out of each other's bodies, definitely puts some worry in the mind of the Kiramagers, especially once a battle ensues, knowing that they can't get back into their battle. They clearly know that the gemstones certainly aren't ready for this whatsoever. So instead of kind of being critical of some of their actions, I do love the fact here that Juru taking a lesson that he learned from Fire here in this week. Instead of being critical about the gemstones, why not be supportive of them, right? I mean, the gemstones have been there forever for them, right? In regards to giving them the motivation that they certainly need, supporting them anytime that they've been down or badly defeated, right? They've always been sort of that extra voice on their shoulder, kind of talking to them, energizing them, giving them that support that they certainly need. And I love to get an opportunity to see the Kiramagers not only realize that for themselves, but turn it around to provide the support that the gemstones need here in this week's episode. Yeah, so I said the idea of compliments carry over from the classroom to the battlefield. So I thought that was pretty neat. The idea of compliments, I said giving the gems the belief in themselves to overcome. Kiramagers get the chance to be the support system this time around, and the gems come together amazingly well. One of my cool scenes in here, one of my favorite ones also, outside of Tommy Tomo doing the floss, is I honestly love the roll call that we wind up getting here. The fact that once our gemstones really have a hold of what they're doing as Kiramagers, the fact that they pull out a brand new roll call, I thought was fantastic. Just some of the great movements with the helico, with her heart. You have Chevelle even hitting that, like the crane move, or whatever the case may be, the crane pose, the mock with the running one. I mean, I thought it was just absolutely brilliant how they wind up turning it around. I feel like this show has more roll calls, not significantly different, but I feel like roll calls are the thing in this season that you gotta hit. Because I mean, even Takamichi, if you recall, he wanted to be a part of the roll call, right? Like when he finally started realizing he was a part of the team, I remember him coming up to him and like, "Hey, can I be a part of that thing that you guys do?" Also, and Tommy Tomo's like, "Yeah, I guess you can join the roll call." Like it feels like the roll call is the cool thing to do on this show. So I'm glad that everybody's really getting their opportunity to do that. But the Mashins, I think they call it the machine version. The Mashins roll call is probably by far my favorite roll call out of all of them. So I thought they did marvelously well in here this week. But overall, listen, I thought it was a pretty solid, fun episode. Again, nothing over the top. I mean, it was really fun to kind of see Garza and even Carantula, having them swap places and things like that. But again, I think the liveliness and the kid-friendly sort of attitudes and spunk and sassiness and just like awkwardness and like of the gemstones inside of the Kiramagers is really what did it for me. Just seeing those personalities transformed into human form, them being all over the place, and then having the support of the Kiramagers to put them together as a fully fledged team and get everybody on the same page. Again, I think there's just something fantastic about the writing in here that can give you a solid episode that doesn't focus on an overarching story, but just injects humor, lightheartedness, happiness, put smiles on your faces, and just a good time in storytelling. I think that definitely goes a long way. So, because even though while some people may look at this like, oh, this is a filler episode, it was I thought it was a really solid one for sure. One that definitely kept me entertained and certainly put a smile on my face. So I continue to certainly love this show for sure. And I'm really hoping that now that we are getting into the 20s, that we have ourselves another big story arc, hopefully coming here rather soon. But guys, I definitely want to know your thoughts in regards to episode number 19. Definitely wasn't an episode that I was definitely expecting, but one that I didn't realize I needed until I absolutely saw it. So kudos to the writing team for just having an amazing cast, an amazing group of characters that can be this goofy and fun-loving and still carry a season on their back like this, man. I'm really impressed with everything they've gotten us so far. But listen, guys, at the end of the day, these are just my A+ opinions. I definitely want to go ahead and know yours. So please let me know your thoughts about this week's episode in the comment section box below. Let me see what some of you guys are saying, some of the highlights about this week's episode that you guys really, really loved. L'Oreal says, it was fun seeing the Mashins and the Rangers switch places. I loved it when Mashin Fire and the kids at the preschool were saying Juro's catchphrase. Yeah, in sparkleization. And then he even gets the fist at the end and things like that. Yeah, it was really cool seeing Fire in that situation. And again, for me at least, it's really cool to kind of see the actors themselves portraying the gemstones, right? Because it's not just the voice, but it's the voice and the personalities that comes with the gemstones that our Kiramager and that cast has to then portray. So to see Shiguru, running around like Jetter, or Seiyo pretending to be Helico and spinning around and stuff, or Juro pretending to be Fire, like even the way that he was talking, and you see the way his mouth and his mannerisms are and things like that, he's really embodying what he thinks the personality and of the gemstone certainly is. So kudos to just the amazing performances too by this week's team. But yeah, it was pretty cool seeing Fire get an opportunity to say Juro's catchphrase this week. Lori also says Mock was really crazy when in Cena's body. I think the guy's in love with her, and I again, that's just what we were talking about, right? The idea that they have a very fascinating sort of connection. The fact that Mock clearly wants to do anything for her, really just wants to gain her praise and whatever the case may be. The fact that even Cena at times has complimented Mock just for his voice and things like that, and being sweet and chivalrous towards her. So the fact that he gets that opportunity to be inside of Cena's body, to just because you can tell that he's already infatuated with her. So to have that close up and personal experience to see what she smells like and to hold on to her body, and I'm telling you, man, it kind of creepy in a weird way, but fun at the same time. But yeah, their dilemma and issues, I feel like they could use a whole entire episode just for Mock and Cena, to say the least. I mean, the fact that when she calls him lame, he's completely heartbroken, but then when she's praising him and says that she loves him, I mean, he just straight up to attention, like, she loves me, okay, we'll do whatever she certainly asks us to do, sort of thing. So yeah, they definitely have a very interesting relationship. Alec even says it was weird, one kind of, I mean, with the green crystal getting too familiar with Cena. That's what I was talking about. Like, you can clearly see that that's what the attention of the show, like, you get what the intention was meant to be, right? Like, you get the idea that Mock in Cena's body grabs a hold of his chest. They immediately cut away from it, and Cena even brings it up, like, hey, let's not go through these body cliches when it comes to a male swapping a body with a female, sort of thing, right? So when it cuts back to him, his hands are coming off, like he's already got that feel. And now you know what I'm saying? So it definitely is a little bit weird. It definitely is weird. I'm just gonna leave it at that, Alec. Definitely is weird. Alex says, but I do like the idea that both sides really had to deal with self-worth and encouragement of others, that the Gems needed that from the Rangers. Yeah, I definitely do agree with you there. There is definitely an overarching theme to this season in regards to the idea of teamwork, being partners, encouraging one another's, right? I mean, we see it with Drew week after week, and with even some of his other team members doing this, the idea of pushing each other to shine their brightest, right? Because even at the end of this episode, Mabushina says, you know, I feel like everybody's shining brighter than they certainly ever have. And I think even the idea of them now having swapped bodies and being in each other's shoes definitely allows them to understand each other better, but also understands even further the importance of why they're all in this together, right? Why they have to continue to encourage and support each other. So yeah, I think it's extremely valuable lessons that our Kiramagers and our Gemstones are certainly learning throughout this season, but that definitely seems to be the overarching theme there. Alec winds up saying, Mock, Helico, and Fire were amazing. You know, for me, I will even put they really all were. If I would even throw up um a Jetter for me, trying to get that praise from his big brother and trying to be just like his bro in Shiguru. I thought was great. I really do like their personalities. There are several personalities and connections between Karamagers and Gemstones that I'm a really big fan of. Mock and Cena, Shiguru and Jetter, and Seo and Helico are like some of the personalities that I personally like to see. L'Oreal, when she says, I love Fire and Mock. Those are her Gemstones that she's big fans of for sure. L'Oreal says that that collage that the kids made of their teacher and Juro was beautiful. Is that who that was? I didn't even realize that that's who the two characters were. I'm glad you pointed that out, L'Oreal. I didn't even consider that. I just said, like, oh, look at the collage they made of two people's faces. That's cool. It didn't even fall on me that it was in fact Juro and the teacher. So thank you for that, L'Oreal. I appreciate that. Alex says, that's why I really gravitate towards both girls and Helico this season, because they both act very sweetly and mild like princesses. You know, you definitely have a good point there, especially when it comes to Seo, especially Helico for sure. Helico and Seo definitely have that sweet, mild like princess aspects about them for sure. Like, I can easily see Seo in like a princess dress trapped in like Bowser's castle somewhere. L'Oreal says, as for next episode, that witch from episode 0 is going to be back. I'm so scared for Juru. And by which I mean that girl that called Juru weird. Oh, was that the girl that wanted him, that wanted her or wanted Juru to draw a picture of her? Yeah, she was like pushing him, like, what's taking you so long? To her defense, though, she legit sat there forever waiting for this guy to draw her, thinking that Juro was drawing her. Was like, that's me, not so much. But yeah, if that's her, it'll be interesting to see her back. Like for me, I think somebody mentioned last week, like, hey, we haven't even seen Juro in school in a minute. So a part of me is, I'm assuming, I think from what I saw in the preview, look like he might actually be back in school. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But overall, guys, listen, I thought this episode was pretty solid. Thank you, everybody, for your comments today. I definitely appreciate you guys certainly coming through. But yeah, overall, again, another solid episode here this week. Nothing too over the top in regards to big overarching storylines. But again, I think these are really valuable lessons that our Kiramagers and Gemstones are definitely learning, and definitely full of fun, humor, lightheartedness, some really great encouraging moments here, and that's definitely what I love to see, especially when it comes to a team environment and atmosphere for Super Sentai. So I love what the writers are certainly doing here, and the cast continues to impress me week in and week out. And this week was definitely this week definitely was no different for sure, especially having to see them up their game a little bit to portray and act completely differently, like their actual gemstones. So I thought they did a marvelous job here this week. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I definitely want to know your thoughts. Again, these are just our A+ opinions. At the end of the day, we want to know yours though. So go ahead and check out episode number 19 and leave your thoughts in the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. But other than that, that'll probably wrap it up for us here today. Quick update in regards to YouTube. This is probably going to be the week that I find out the fate of our YouTube channel and what's going to happen there. I've been sending out a couple emails that I really would like to hear back from YouTube in regards to it, to kind of give me a little bit more confidence that our channel might be back up and running. But again, it's a slight glimmer of hope, ladies and gentlemen. But I will keep you guys posted and updated, especially this week, because I think this will in fact be the week where we come to figure out what the fate of our channel is. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted on our community page, along with here on our Facebook page as well, ladies and gentlemen. So if anything, worst case scenario, like I said, we're still going to go ahead and push out content for you guys. So even if it's not going to be on YouTube, if you're used to seeing our videos, you can definitely find this on our Facebook page and Twitch, as well, as we'll continue to go live with our content there. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But in the meantime, if you want to follow us on social media, you can definitely go ahead and do so right down here at A+ Opinions. We're going to be on Facebook here, clearly, Twitter. We're also on Instagram and Twitch for you gamers as well. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you later. Kiramager Chain!